Number 7. Tyrese Devin Haspel. Millionaire tech entrepreneur Fahim Salah was brutally murdered at his upscale Manhattan residence on July the 13th of 2020. His body was found the following day by his sister, who'd gone to check on him after his neighbors indicated that they'd heard screaming coming from inside the apartment. In the incident's aftermath, gruesome details regarding the nature of 33-year-old Salah's demise surfaced online. According to the police, the computer programmer had been decapitated and meticulously dismembered by his killer after having been stabbed to death. Upon conducting a thorough sweep of the crime scene, officers reportedly found Salah's torso placed next to an electric saw, as well as his head and limbs in garbage bags scattered.
God damn, man, Jesus. What's the title when...
Elsewhere in the apartment. In a subsequent report published by the New York Times, it was detailed how, on the day of his murder, Salah had been followed into the elevator of his apartment building by a man dressed in black clothing. Surveillance footage revealed that the two men engaged in some sort of physical struggle that spilled out of the elevator and into the apartment. Investigators postulated that the assailant ultimately fled out the back door when Salah's sister arrived to check on him. 3 days after the body was found, the police announced that they'd arrested 21-year-old Tyrese Devin Haspel on suspicion of committing the murder. Haspel, who was Salah's personal assistant, was also accused of embezzling upwards of $100,000 from his former boss. When Salah discovered the theft, he reportedly created a payment plan for Haspel to pay the money back. However, after NYPD officials began investigating text messages in which Salah mentioned the stolen money, Haspel resorted to killing him in order to cover up the embezzlement. Number 6. Timothy Peel. On January the 27th of 2022, the assistant fire chief in La Habra Heights, California, was arrested on charges of impersonating a police officer and felony false imprisonment. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office, 34-year-old Timothy Peel used a white 2020 Chevy Silverado, equipped with police lights and a siren, to conduct an unspecified number of traffic stops on civilians. He was also
What the cluck is wrong with you?
accused of illegally detaining the victims he pulled over, although the official press release didn't specify when or where the alleged incidents had occurred. Peel was taken into custody at his home and later booked into the jail at the Norwich Sheriff's Station before being released on a $100,000 bond. In the aftermath of his arrest, local police turned to the public for help in identifying those who may have been victimized by Peel's spree of unauthorized traffic stops. Number 5. Robert Hertzog. In the early morning hours of December the 24th of 2019, Florida man Robert Hertzog was taken into police custody for violating a restraining order filed by his ex-girlfriend. Court documents indicated that 36-year-old Hertzog had been harassing the woman over a period of about 3 months, during which time he'd been constantly contacting her, showing up at her place of work, and driving by her house. The man, who was the assistant principal at Cooper City High School, was reportedly released on a $1,000 bond, but was ordered to wear an ankle monitor and refrain from making any form of contact with his former partner. A few years later, in April of 2022, Hertzog made headlines once again after he'd solicited a school police officer to illegally run a license plate check on a man dating his ex-girlfriend. Investigators detailed how the school official would often ask this particular officer to check the license plates of cars that were improperly parked on campus. Hertzog had allegedly abused the officer's trust in order to obtain details about his love rival, and consequently faced a felony charge of criminal use of personal information. In July of 2022, it was reported that Hertzog also faced child neglect charges. The Special Victims Unit of the Broward County Sheriff's Office revealed that the man had neglected to provide relevant medical information, which resulted in serious physical injury and prolonged suffering to the victim, although no other details were mentioned in the initial report. Number 4. Anthony Yarend. Deputies of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Florida arrested Tampa resident Anthony Yarend on March the 8th of 2019 on suspicion of drug trafficking, acting on a tip that the man, a physician's assistant, was dealing illicit substances. Officers searched his home in the Carrollwood Retreat gated community, where they reportedly located a plethora of drugs, as well as counterfeit U.S. currency totaling approximately...
Why does it look like, more often than not, when people deal with drugs, they look like they deal with drugs? You know, like, if he worked at Chipotle, like, back when I was working at Chipotle, like, I'm a people's person, right? So, like, you know, I can usually pick up on shit. But, like, if I was to see him, I probably would have either quit that day or just ran hard as 6 miles and then some without no trace. Like, I would just be literally just in the middle of me cutting chicken. I see him. Like, I'm dropping everything, going out the back door, and I'm running until I literally can't run no more.
$7,400. 38-year-old Yarend, the reported owner of the Anthony Lawrence Skin Center in West Chase, was bonded out on several counts of drug trafficking, possession of counterfeit U.S. currency, possession of 3 different controlled substances, possession of drug paraphernalia, and keeping a public nuisance structure for drug activity. Following the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, further controversy befell Yarend and his medical practice when he received numerous Paycheck Protection Program loans despite his pending criminal charges. Number 3. Ernest Roberts. Camila Russell, a teacher and test proctor at Miami Norland Senior High School in Florida, went missing on May the 15th of 2019. About 2 weeks later, her body reportedly turned up in a canal in Miami Gardens. A medical examination concluded that her death had been caused by blunt force trauma to the head, and the case was subsequently classified as a homicide. The ensuing police investigation uncovered that Russell had last been seen alive entering the home of her childhood friend, Ernest Roberts, who had formerly served as the assistant principal at Norland. As was captured by Roberts' neighbor's security cameras, the man had gotten into Russell's car and driven it away from his home less than an hour after her initial arrival. The woman didn't appear in the video herself, however, leading investigators to theorize that Roberts might have been responsible for her murder. The police ultimately obtained a search warrant for the man's home after one of his co-workers revealed that he'd asked them about how to make a car disappear, as well as how to clean up blood in his house that had purportedly been left there following an altercation with an intruder. The former assistant principal was eventually taken into police custody on a charge of first-degree murder. Subsequent reports suggested that Roberts would likely face the death penalty in connection to Russell's slaying. Today's topic was requested by the Doxy Mama. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Devonta Neil. Former University of Arizona football player Devonta Neil was arrested in the summer of 2022 in connection to the murder of 25-year-old Brian Burns roughly 5 years earlier. Court records detailed how at about 3 a.m. on November the 11th of 2017, Burns had been fatally shot in his car after being involved in a minor traffic accident near Interstate 10 and Elliott Road in Phoenix. In the wake of the incident, the victim's girlfriend requested that the police question Neil, whom she dated prior to the start of her relationship with Burns. During his interview with investigators, Neil provided an alibi for the night of Burns' killing, claiming to have been at an Applebee's with a friend before the two went back to his Scottsdale residence. The former college athlete was released following the line of questioning And in January of 2022, he was reportedly hired as an assistant coach by the Idaho State University football team. In June of that same year, the police in Pocatello, Idaho, reported that Neil had been indicted on a first-degree murder charge by a grand jury in Maricopa County, Arizona. As of the latest updates on the matter, it wasn't revealed why it had taken investigators nearly 5 years to positively identify Neil as Burns' killer. However, the Phoenix Police Department Crime Lab reportedly tested the man's 2010 Honda Accord, which was found to have sustained damage consistent with the accident in which Burns had been involved prior to the shooting. Forensic analysts also found gunshot residue in samples taken from inside the car. Following Neil's arrest, officials at Idaho State University publicly announced that he'd been placed on administrative leave and that the school had initiated proceedings to terminate his contract. Number 1. Goen Park. On the evening of February the 15th of 2020, Iowa police received a call about a person who'd been found unconscious at a condominium in the city of West Des Moines. Upon their arrival, officers encountered the 911 caller, identified as Goen Park, performing CPR on the distressed individual, who was later determined to be her husband, 41-year-old Sun-Woo Nam. The latter, who was reportedly unresponsive and had ligature marks on his neck, was quickly taken to a nearby hospital, where he was ultimately pronounced dead. A few days later, shocking details emerged regarding the specific nature of Nam's death, as well as his wife's personal involvement in it. According to a police report on the matter, Park, an assistant professor of economics at Simpson College in Indianola, had bound her husband's hands and feet with cable ties before restraining him to a chair on the morning of his eventual demise. The woman allegedly stuffed an item of clothing in Nam's mouth and placed a piece of duct tape over it to ensure he stayed quiet. It was also detailed how she'd wrapped a towel around the victim's head, restricting his field of vision. He reportedly pleaded with her to untie him over the course of the next several hours, but she refused. Then, at around 6:45 p.m., Nam lost consciousness, prompting his wife to contact 911. Following an investigation, West Des Moines police took Park into custody on first-degree murder and kidnapping charges. Court records revealed that Park, who pleaded not guilty to the charges, maintained that her husband had been abusive towards her and had actually given her permission to tie him up whenever he became violent. A subsequent Iowa Court of Appeals ruling blocked most of the statements Park made to the police from being used in the case's eventual trial. The judges cited certain deceptive statements made by officers during their initial interrogation as the reasoning behind their consequential decision. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be your favorite celebrity's assistant but get paid nothing, or have your parents live with you in your dream home? Let us know in the comment section below.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Because I like to walk around my house naked, so, you know. But then I don't want to just be working for somebody and I'm not getting paid. Oh, no. That's hard. But, no, that's crazy. If you want me to react to more of his videos, let me know that in the comment section below. But as always, keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.